All right. Today we're talking Good Will Hunting, the movie that made you believe that a janitor could solve a math problem that would probably fry your brain. It's the classic troubled story with Boston accents. You got Matt Damon, you got Ben Affleck, and then you also got really good leading support from Robin Williams. Let's dive into this Oscar-winning sob story and kind of figure out whether or not Good Will found hunting. This movie made me cry.
This movie made me cry. Movie makes me cry.
Made me cry multiple times.
This movie just it grabs your heart, and it's this is one of those movies that there's so much in it. Like there's love, like romantic love, like almost like a father-son type of love, like.
I wish I would have watched this movie after Dogma because I watched this movie before Dogma.
Oh, you did.
And so the tonal shift in watching, because I watched it back to back, I was like, oh, fuck, maybe I should have waited a little bit.
I think it's better because otherwise you may have not been as immersed, like you would have already, seen like Matt Damon and Ben Affleck play off each other. Let's pop the trailer.
Yeah. But yeah, Good Will Hunting definitely made me sad for a couple of days.
Yeah, this is like one on my probably top 10 movies for me. It's it shows a little bit of its age in the filming, right? But like as far as content, let's watch the trailer and let's see what we got. Miramax. I don't know if they're a studio anymore.
I think they are. They just are they're kind of like DL.
One of America's leading universities.
There is a problem on the main hallway chalkboard. Took my colleagues and I more than 2 years to prove. I'm hoping that one of you might prove it by the end of the semester.
The most gifted mind to ever enter its classrooms.
Well, this is correct. Who did this?
Is the
Who did
person
this?
who cleans its floors.
Well, I just need the name of this guy who works in my building.
Boston.
Job through his PO, you can call him.
P.O.?
Parole officer.
Meet Will Hunting.
I've been looking over this rap sheet of yours. Assault, theft, resisting.
Yeah, he really fucked them
He's
up.
agreed to release you, under my supervision. Really? You have to meet with a therapist every week.
That's pretty good.
For the first time in his life, he's about to meet his match.
How many shrinks you go to before me?
5. This boy's genius is unparalleled. I need someone who can get through to him.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm pumped. Let's let the healing begin. I went on a date last week. Going out again? I don't know.
She's a babe.
She's a fucking
she's
babe.
Smart, she's fun.
I don't really know
Like perfect right
what
now.
other movies she's been in,
Maybe you're
but when I
perfect
saw
right
her,
now.
I was
Maybe
like,
I'm
she's
wrong.
like my ideal
Talking
woman.
about it.
Yeah, she's beautiful, attractive, intelligent.
It's from Jersey. Oh no, she's from LA, I think. But
Isn't she British?
oh no, yeah, she's British.
Yeah.
That's right. She had the.
From Jersey.
No, I said that because they were making fun of
can't
his
live.
accent.
I
Yeah.
want to talk about you.
Until someone believes in them.
You can do anything you want. You are bound by nothing.
You're sitting on a winning lottery.
Early 2000 trailer music for dramas were fire.
And some never know how much they can have
I love you.
until they discover how much they can give. Academy Award winner Robin Williams.
Their relationship was really
Ben
weird. The
Affleck,
professor and
Stellan Skarsgård.
Yeah, if I met a girl that said she hated this movie, I don't know if I could date her.
yeah, I don't know if I could date her either.
You know?
Nominated for 9 Academy Awards.
Nominated for 9 fucking Academy Awards, you know? So let's start. Good Will Hunting, right? So we'll give it a little synopsis and then let people. And I'm gonna also pull up some. I'm sure there's some scenes that as we speak, because this one's just too good. There's gonna be some scenes in here that'll be good that we can discuss. But Good Will Hunting, directed by Gus Van Sant, is a heartfelt drama about love, friendship, and self-discovery. Will Hunting, Matt Damon, that's what he's, is a young janitor at MIT with a troubled past, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, but a brilliant mind for mathematics. When Will solves a complex math problem left on a classroom blackboard, kind of like a challenge. He usually a challenge like whoever, so it's going to take you, the professor says it's going to take you weeks, right? He catches the attention of Professor Gerald Lambeau, played by Stellan Skarsgård, who realizes Will's untapped genius. However, Will's volatile temper and fear of emotional vulnerability lead him into trouble with the law. To avoid jail time, Lambeau arranges for Will to work under his mentorship and attend therapy. Very fashion forward, 97, they're already going to therapy. Will reluctantly begins with sessions with Sean McGuire, played by Robin Williams, a compassionate therapist grappling with his own pain. Through their sessions, Will confronts his traumatic past, fear of failure, and potential for greatness, ultimately learning to embrace love and his own worth. Now you watched it. Does this trailer tell you anything about the movie you're about to watch?
I think it does.
Yeah.
But the tone of the trailer was not what it is.
Yeah.
Everything though, like the story, what is going on, like the plot, everything's there. But this is just like the tip of the surface, or the surface level of this movie, because once you watch this movie, that trailer, the tone just completely changes.
I'm gonna blow your mind about something right now. Did you know that Matt Damon and Ben Affleck wrote this script?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay,
actually, that was in one of my notes, because I looked up here. In my notes, it said Matt Damon and Ben Affleck wrote this movie. Like exclamation
right?
point.
I mean, when you don't think about them as writers and this banger,
Yeah, they wrote it and directed it.
Wrote it, directed it. I think this is probably one of the things that launched them hugely. So what do you have? It seems like you took some notes.
So some of the notes that I wrote here, it was in the beginning of the movie, and that's when you kind of get introduced to Matt Damon's character.
Yeah.
So you see him as a janitor. First thing that I wrote in here was like, Matt Damon's a janitor? I was like, in what world is Matt Damon a janitor?
Yeah.
And then MIT has a plot point in this. I was like, okay, cool. This is going to be centered around just academics and stuff like that. And then after that, I was paying attention to the whole movie, and then we got to the fight scene, the fight scene in the basketball court.
Yeah.
And I wrote here, I said, oh, they like that, because they rolled in 4 people deep.
Yeah.
The whole crew.
I like how Ben Affleck's like, you better get the fuck out there to Casey Affleck.
Yeah.
He's like, if you're not out there in 2 fucking seconds after I'm done with them, I'm coming for you. It's
so
you can't be a pussy in this universe.
Matt Damon's character is followed around by 3 other friends. At first, I thought they were his family. I thought that was his family. But then you find out later on, those are just his homies. Those are
because he's an orphan.
He's an orphan. Yeah. And so Casey Affleck was probably my favorite part of this movie. He played a really good role.
Casey Affleck's good in this movie.
He's funny as shit. Yeah, when he was like, I just want, give me my fucking cheeseburger, man.
And all those actors, right? They're open in movies. The redheaded actor, he's he was in one of the Fast and the Furious movies. He's played a villain a couple times. Yeah. The gruff guy.
Yeah, and then after the fight, that's when Matt Damon's character gets arrested. But he gets arrested literally hours after he solved that equation.
Yeah. And he's like, they roll deep because he's like, oh, this guy used to pick on me or pick on somebody in high school, and they just go, hey, hey, you remember me? And he's like, what? And then just fucking
socks him,
just starts a fight 100%. But yeah, they get arrested, right?
They get arrested, and then the professor comes and picks Matt Damon's character up.
Yeah,
pretty much saying, I know it's you that solved that equation. Let me cut you a deal. How about you come work for me?
Yeah,
help me solve these problems. and you go to therapy, and then you won't have to go to jail.
Yeah.
Obviously, he was Matt Damon's character was mad cool about doing the math equations.
Yeah.
He just was not cool about going to therapy,
Yeah,
which
he-
I get, in those cases, like troubled kids.
Yeah, he's
that-
not a pussy. You know,
Yeah.
he's like, I don't need to go to therapy. What you talking about?
it's 98.
Or to your mother, you know, like.
But after that, they kind of agreed to that, and he started working on the equations with him, like doing all
Yeah.
this stuff for him.
But he's definitely a trouble kid. And
Oh, yeah.
I want to tell you this little fun fact about it, that the original screenplay included a subplot about a government conspiracy, but Harvey Weinstein suggested it should focus on Will's emotional journey instead.
Harvey Weinstein.
A key change that shaped the film. Yeah. Harvey Weinstein, I think, was a producer in this.
You mean to tell me I have? Oh no!
Listen, Harvey Weinstein made a lot of fucking great movies. Surprisingly enough, if you look it up and you look how many films Harvey Weinstein was associated with, you'd be like, this guy has a roster. You know,
I have
it's almost.
Harvey Weinstein to thank for this marvelous movie.
I think you have to separate the art from the artist. Like R. Kelly has some bangers. You know,
Okay,
like
that's
doesn't mean
fair.
that I approve of his conduct. And Harvey Weinstein knows how to make a good fucking movie.
Oh, okay.
You know, it's almost like, if you can accept that, it's almost like those women suffered for nothing. You know, like. Listen, he went to jail, or he's still in jail. You know, like
he's in
piece
he's
of
in
shit
Slam.
guy. But as far as he can make a movie,
In here, there was a couple of stuff. I wrote Troublemaker is a math genius. Troublemaker is a math genius. This seems incredible. I wrote this seems incredibly relatable. Living in a small, like hometown vibes, like just the same thing with Super 8. You know,
Yeah.
like having your homies and doing shit like outside, like getting
very
in fights.
very earnest, very raw. And I lived in Boston, and that's one thing that still perpetuates in that city. Like, people are no bullshit. They're a little rough around the edges, but they'll be real with you. You know.
Mm-hmm. I was like, I really like the idea of Ben Affleck being that leader of the group, like the big
Yeah.
brother,
Yeah.
and just all of them just work really well. Like
Yeah.
there was multiple times in the movie where I felt super comfortable
Yeah.
that Will was with them.
Yeah. They were good together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you remember? There's a famous scene, right? Like, where we can put it on, the one in the bar.
Oh, when he,
Yeah.
we can go ahead and watch that. But yeah, this scene was really funny to me.
Yeah, because Ben Affleck, in case people don't know, right? Like, so in Boston, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a city called Cambridge, and there's a bunch of different areas of Boston, like Boston, Brighton, Alston, Jamaica Plain, South Boston, and there is a river that kind of goes by the city.
Mm-hmm.
And if Boston's here and there's a river, Cambridge is over here. So it's technically separated by a river. And in Cambridge is where MIT is.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Like, and maybe even where Harvard is as well. So it's kind of like going from, to Chapel Hill. It's like, oh, let's go Chapel Hill. And there's going to be a different crowd on Franklin
It's a
Street.
college town, yeah.
Yeah. So they're going to the area, and they're going to a bar in the area where the students from Harvard and MIT might be there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, get that dork bitch. That's what I was thinking the entire time. I was like, who the fuck is this dork bitch ass dude? I was like, man, is that really how it be at college town? There ain't no way.
Little dork, upscale, rich asshole.
Yeah,
you know?
like MIT, the Harvard fucking bars and shit like that.
This line is wild.
Yeah, but I will have a degree. And you'll be serving my kids fries at a drive-thru.
God.
But at least I won't be unoriginal. But I mean, if you have a problem with that, I mean, we can just sit outside. We can figure it out.
Oh, man, there's no problem.
Yeah, pussy.
Yeah, pussy. I like that he's like, I'm smarter than you, and I can beat the shit out of you. Like, because these two were construction.
My boy's wicked smart.
Yeah, like Matt Damon and Ben Affleck were fucking construction. Like they're like lifting heavy shit, right? Like,
Yeah, like
they're
throwing
not
the
a couple little
cinder blocks,
squeaks,
yeah.
Like, and then this guy's like trying to like come at Ben Affleck, oh well, I'm smarter than you, and I'm gonna make you look like a dullard.
My boy's wicked smart.
And then Matt Damon comes in. He's like shitting on him. He's like, oh, okay. Yeah, well, you're gonna serve my kids at McDonald's. He's like, well, why don't we step outside if you still got a problem, huh?
And let's throw some hands.
Yeah. Let me introduce you to Mr. Right and Mr. Left. You know, like they're gonna put you out for expulsion.
So like, I think after that, because he succeeds in getting the girl's number. Matt Damon gets the girl's number. He goes up. He starts walking out of the bar. He's talking with the group, and then he sees them at a diner.
Yeah, he sees them through the window. Yeah.
And he walks up to him. He goes dunk dunk dunk, and he sticks the paper. He's like, "I got a number. How do you like them apples?"
Yeah.
Fucking.
Which is an iconic line that's been like spoken through time, right? He's like, "Hey, do you like apples?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, as you said, how about them apples?
How about them apples? Is that where that?
Yeah.
That's where that's from.
That is where that's from.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, how
I've been
about
saying
them
that
apples?
just because I thought I learned that from my teacher,
Yeah.
like from my elementary teacher.
Yeah. I don't know if it was a saying before, but definitely got popular after this movie. I mean, it won like 2 Academy Awards: Best Supporting Actor for Robin Williams, Best Original Screenplay for Damon and Affleck. So what else do you remember about this? What else was a highlight for you?
For me, I think the relationship between the MIT student and Matt Damon, because that's when you start seeing like the vulnerabilities of Matt Damon's character, like what is like really fucking him up, and like what is what I got from it is that he is a self-sabotager. He is the kind of person that would think, if I can't do it, I'm just gonna fail, so I'm just gonna drop it. Kind of deal. He's the kind of person that's always self-doubting,
Very
in his
closed
head.
off. Like,
I mean, like I related to him crazy. Like I was like, like I feel what he's feeling, and it's obviously coming from trauma and stuff like that. And I think the idea that Robin Williams' therapist character is like the perfect guy to really teach him, and
because it's almost like they had a similar
the same thing,
upbringing, right? Like I know one time they're talking about abuse, and like, you know, Robin Williams would be like, yeah, it'd be interesting nights where he wore his rings. Apparently his dad used to beat the shit out of Robin Williams. And I have a note here that apparently Williams drew from his own experience of loss and grief to deliver a raw, heartfelt performance, you know? But then I like it seems even like not as bad. It's still pretty bad, but as Matt Damon's, where he's like, yeah, he would had me pick between like a belt and a stick, or like a piece of wood, or
like a wire switch or something like that.
And Robin Williams was like, oh, well, I have to go with the belt. He's like, no, I go for the iron bar. He's like, why? He's like, it's fuck him. That's why, you know, like
That's
that.
crazy.
That is a tough kid. Like, as fuck him, you're gonna beat the shit out of me. Well, I'm gonna beat the shit out of me for real with the hardest thing you got. You know, like that's
fucking crazy.
It's well, I'm glad you fucking loved it, bro. Like, this is one of my top, you know, like I said, top 10 movies. What else do you got?
I had here, because there was a scene, the first therapy session that I had with Matt Damon, where he tricked my ass, because I start writing, I was like, Will seems like a kid who has heart, have ambition, but this bad habit. And then after that, I wrote ... I said, honestly, I was writing this during the start of the therapy session, and I refrained from, and I've learned to refrain from jumping the gun. Because he fucking tricked my ass. Because he was doing, that was whenever, that was one of the scenes where the third therapist was like doing like a body like therapeutical thing.
He's hypnotized. He's like, he's going to my room.
He's like faking it out. He's like fucking with them, and it's like damn, dude, you are fucking rude. You are rude as fuck.
He's like, we're standing and we're dancing and dancing. We can dance the whole night long. Star and flights. Hey. Afternoon delight, you know, like
and I want to go back to the idea of the girlfriend too, because of Robin Williams' character, because the more that he talks about his wife throughout the movie, the more I start to understand the real meaning of true love. Yeah, because there's the scene where he's talking with him about the baseball game. Yeah. And how he was talking about how he was going to go to the baseball game. He got tickets. He was describing the game. Yeah. And then it turns out he never went to the game. Instead, he went to the bar.
A legendary game.
Yeah.
One of the things that it does say in here is that Robin Williams, especially for those scenes about his wife. He really like dug deep into his emotional thing. But yeah, like as you mentioned, right? He's talking about this legendary game, and that no, he's like I knew, she was something special, like so he gave the tickets to his friend. He's like, I gotta go see about a girl, So that really hit you.
Yeah, that hit me. I think the confrontation between the girlfriend and Matt Damon's character or Will, whenever they're sleeping with each other and they're in the hotel or in her dorm room, they're arguing and she's like,
I want to help you.
She's like, I just want to help you. Like, why won't you? What's up with your brothers? Like, why won't you introduce me? And at that moment, I didn't think. Like I said, I still thought like Ben Affleck's character and all those were his siblings.
Yeah.
But then I find out they were just friends. I was like, oh, that makes sense. He probably just doesn't want her to know that he's an orphan.
Yeah.
And like he's embarrassed by that.
Yeah.
And so that's where the self-sabotage comes in. Like just the idea of thinking that other people see you as a failure is the worst thing you could have when you are constantly thinking negatively about yourself because you think everything is your fault.
Yeah, that's powerful.
And so like, because later on the more conversations he has with Robin Williams' character and just how everything unfolds, he's still not cooperating with the whole mathematics. Like the professor's trying to get him into jobs, takes him to an interview. There's that one scene where Ben Affleck came and sabotaged.
Shows up like
in the suit and like
a retainer. He's like asking him for $50.
And like it's just it's powerful because I feel like a lot of people nowadays can 100% relate to self-sabotage and just constantly thinking yourself in a bad way. I think conversations like that between best friends are really important. I have those conversations almost all the time.
That's good.
Because the thing is that a lot of people won't get a lot from this. It'll sound like he doesn't want him to see him anymore. Like, I guess at face value, like doing that. But essentially, you kind of just you're always going to want your best friend to tell you that you don't need what they need. You don't need to be them. You need to be your own person.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. And it's almost like, Will Hunting is so smart, right? But he's still only a human, right? Like, so his buddy's like, like giving him real honest shit. It's like, listen, you're not doing this because of whatever. You're doing this because you're a fucking pussy about like, going for it, right? Like, and he's like, you're better than that, like you owe it to our friendship to see what you can do, otherwise, like, it's like, like we're all hungry and you got this cake in front of you and we'd be happy if you ate it, but you gotta let it fucking spoil. Like, fuck you, like you have the chance. Like, I don't have the chance you had or I would take it, like, and yeah, that's super strong. I completely agree.
And then, I just think this was a really powerful scene. This is one of those scenes where I was just like, I feel Matt Damon's character. Like, what do you mean? Like, like, oh, I need to push through. I need to just go like with it. And so that's what he does. Like, after this, he goes to the office of Robin Williams' character and he sees him and the professor chatting about him.
Yeah.
And they're talking about like, oh, why do you think he's so special? And then they're talking about their own personal problems.
Yeah.
And then it's like, that's where we get that's when the professor leaves and we get the iconic scene.
Yeah. Because there's this whole, to your point, the sub theme, right, between the professor and Robin Williams apparently also being very intelligent and being very like smart in his class, but he chooses to go for his girl and not go for whatever the professional thing which the other professor did. He's like, he's like, you look down on me like, like I'm like I fucked up, but I didn't fuck up. I made a conscious choice to like, be with my wife, like, and choose this life for myself. And in a way that's kind of like, he's kind of like what he's asking, once he gained the trust of Will Hunting to do, like, do what you want, like, but be vulnerable enough to say what you want first,
like, you have to be aware of like what you want to do before you do something.
Yeah.
So
here it says that, like one of the themes where, it's like healing through vulnerability, like Will's journey revolves around opening up to others, particularly Sean, about his traumatic past and fears, because he was marked by like getting beat the fuck up, like being through the foster system, the power of relationships, the potential versus the fear of failure, which I think a lot of people probably struggle with that. Like that fear will immobilize you. Class and privilege, mentorship and guidance. Love is a catalyst. Basically that love will, propel you like it did Robin Williams in a way through being able to open up to Robin Williams, Sean.
Yeah.
Will is also like, okay, even if she breaks up with me or this doesn't work out, it's not at the end of the world because I went for it,
But yeah, after that whole scene with Robin Williams, he's looking at his what do you call it? Like his pretty much information on him, like his history, like what he's gone through, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And Will's asking like, "Oh, what's that? Like, what do you think?"
Yeah.
And they start delving in more onto like what is really bothering
Yeah.
Will, and that's when we get the scene where Robin Williams looks at him and goes, "It's not your fault."
Yeah.
He's practically telling him what he needed to hear.
Yeah.
None of that was on him.
Yeah.
And he feels guilty for it. That's why, it's a natural reaction when you tell somebody that it's not your fault, when they feel like it is their fault.
Yeah.
And so that's where we get, for the first time we see Will finally break down and realize that like he's really been the one that's holding himself back, and he cries and he hugs Robin Williams.
Almost
character.
like a father.
Yeah, like a father.
Yeah.
Father-son talk.
It's an incredible because that's where he releases all these emotions because he's always like too cool for it or whatever, like because he's smart, he's step ahead of other people, right? Like and he's able to figure out like that one therapist because this movie's not all about happiness, right? This movie's also funny. To be fair, sometimes you gotta let the cake spoil. He says, right?
Okay.
But it's not just about, like sappiness. Like there's a lot of funny parts. Like when he's like fucking with a therapist, he's like, yeah, like I just go to these places, these nightclubs. He's like, boom, 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 boom. And the therapist's like, oh, boom, boom, boom. And then Matt Damon starts laughing his ass off. He's like, do you find it difficult to hide that you're gay?
Oh, yeah.
He's like, come on, buddy. You're about to give me a jump. And the guy storms out, I cannot work with this guy.
Yeah, it's like blatantly disrespectful.
There's the apples thing, there's a lot of funny sports. I also think that Robin Williams comes off very menacing when he tries to fuck with Robin Williams at the beginning of it and tears him apart over this painting, right? Like, and then he starts talking about his wife.
His wife, yeah.
His wife, and Robin Williams, like, very calmly, like, takes off his like glasses, right, and then like fucking like a gorilla,
like grabs him by the
grabs
throat.
him right against the wall. He's like, don't ever fucking mention my wife again, or I will end you. Like. And
that was like the first time you've really seen like Will kind of like.
Yeah,
whoa.
He was even like, holy shit, because he was like, what are you bench? She's like. Robin Williams like 245. What do you bench? Like because it was a very
like a very macho competition kind of deal in the first place.
Yeah.
I think they were just testing each other's water.
Yeah. And like one of my favorite parts of this movie, and I have a lot of them. There's this one speech, right? Like where this one, like where
where he takes him to the park.
Yeah,
they're sitting on the bench.
Because he's so smart and he has an answer for everything, right?
Michelangelo. I know a lot about him. Life's work, political aspirations, him and the Pope, sexual orientation, the whole
especially in today's society where everybody can look stuff up on the internet, right? Like, there's a lot of people that think they know a lot of shit without actually having context or knowing that shit, Like, I love that speech, right? Because that's kind of like where he's like, you don't know what, like...
Yeah, you don't know what you're talking about.
You don't know what you're talking about.
Never experienced anything.
Yeah, you saw a little painting, right? Like, and you find this a lot, like, encouraging. Like, people look up, like, oh, this guy, look, he hunted or whatever. And then they're like, kind of like fucking Matt Damon. They're like, tear somebody apart and all these things. Like, you don't know anything about me, like, right? Like, you're grabbing these pieces, like, you might be seeing, oh, you're fighting a rebound, let's say... you're a liberal white lady, you're fighting against racism, but you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know at me, like in my skin, like what that's about, right? Like, and then so don't come judge me because you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, or you're talking about hunger when you've never been hungry, you know, like, and yeah, you can cite all these stats, but you can't tell me like there's a dimension that you're missing, that you are so self-righteous that you don't even see, that you don't know what you don't know. You know, it's what do you think? Like, you know, it's pretty powerful
that speech, yeah, was really powerful. Like I totally got like what he was trying to tell him. Like, yeah, you have yet to experience any of this.
Yeah.
You have really no say on what I do and versus what you do.
Yeah,
you know?
You might be very smart. You like if we bring it to modern day, yeah, you can look up all this stuff on the internet, but you have not been there. You don't know the real world. You know, like, you know, and he's saying it because you're afraid to go out into the real world and experience this thing, and that, you know, these imperfections that we have as people, right? Because everything online is all about image, right? That's not the good stuff. The good stuff is the imperfections that people have, because those are the things that you remember them for, the thing that makes them unique. You know, I always think of like, you know, like a piece of paper, right? Everybody wants to be this like clear piece of paper, clean and blank slate, right? But there's nothing to that, to another one. There is no difference. What really makes you you is the smudges, the writing on it, like maybe there's some tears in the paper, the stuff that gives this paper history and meaning and makes it different than any other one. You know, so yeah, no, I'm a big fan of this fucking movie, dude.
I think rating wise,
Yeah, what would you give this?
I'd give this movie an A plus.
Yeah, I would give this movie a fucking S.
You'd give it an S?
I give it an S tier, like, because and I'll tell you why, and see if I can convince you. I've watched this movie decade over decade. This movie came out in 98, I think.
98.
And we're in 2025, which is wild. You know, like, this movie came out 27 years ago. It still makes me cry at times. You know, like, it's still, I think it's rewatchable. I think the cast is the banger. I think, you know, like, it might not have the sci-fi effects of an Interstellar, but I think emotionally it hits just as hard. You know, like,
I think I would only boost it up to S just because of the emotional impact that movie has on the world, essentially.
Yeah.
Because that movie to this day is getting edited into like these sad core, hope core edits on TikTok. Like these are used in like those kinds of like that part of TikTok.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Like the lover boy, sad boy type shit.
I mean, there's so many good like speeches and lines in this. Like, if we just like, you know, peruse through like what came up with Good Will Hunting, there was that advice, you know, like, then there's this scene, then there's the
my boy's wicked smart.
The apples one. There's the fight scene.
What are you so scared of? Yeah, that whole speech. Yeah, there's a lot of examples in this movie that could be used to this day.
Oh, I love this movie, and it's this little scene that it's a little unknown scene. Like, well, we're the government. Why wouldn't you want to work for us? A lot of great scenes. So, have I convinced you? S tier?
I think we could put it in.
Fuck yeah, we have our first S tier of the show. Good Will Hunting. What do you think? Right, Minton says that, yeah, Robin Williams was played. Robin Williams as Popeye.
Okay.
Yeah. And Shelley Duvall is Olive Oil. You know, I have to add it to the list. I feel like I've seen it once, you know, but you've probably never seen the Popeye movie. Okay, so any last thoughts on do you think this a date movie, boys movie, solo movie?
Definitely not a boys movie.
Yeah.
For sure, a solo movie.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like that shit would start some fights if it was a date movie.
It's like an independent journey. You don't have the microphone on, by the way.
Dang it.
Yeah. You spaced out.
Wow. No, because I had like a developed answer, and I was just like, I was in go mode.
Yeah.
No, but so yeah, to kind of recap what I was saying, solo movie, yes, for sure. Date movie, no. And boys movie, hell no.
No, you're not gonna cry with your boys, you know, like right next to you. I think this movie is kind of a personal journey because you have to related to a lot of your stuff. You know, like it's whereas Interstellar is almost like a group, you know, like there's a lot of things going on all around it, you know, like, but this one is, I don't know, it's very personal, like the themes, you know, as well. That's dope. And do you think it holds up?
I think it holds up to this day.
So people should watch it.
Yeah, people should 1000% watch Good Will Hunting.
Fuck yeah, watch Good Will Hunting. Any movies that this reminds you of?
This movie, I mean, there's a lot of dramas I could really think of. Like Blue Valentine is one that I could really think of. Like drama movies. This gives me it's not as dark as Manchester by the Sea.
Okay,
but it gives me, because it's an Affleck, you know, it's got Casey Affleck.
Yeah. Okay,
this movie just gives me like that.
Casey Affleck was also in Interstellar.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah. He was the son that had a son that died. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen Interstellar, you know. Movie shouldn't start fights. Stay strapped. You know?
Okay. But yeah, it's a really good drama for what it is.
Nice. Fuck yeah, man. Now we gotta select some new movies to watch. You know?
You guys will probably find out after this episode comes out what next 2 movies. We'll post them on our stories.
Yeah.
On Instagram at Cine Boys.
Maybe we'll figure it out after this spawn and then just post a clip because we can just use the other room.
Yeah.
And record a quick clip of what the next movies will be so people can send in their questions and whatnot. Fuck yeah, man, dude! Are you having a good time? This is a good.
Yeah, this was fun. I'm glad we were able to because we messed up the first time, and that video was almost 4 hours.
Yeah. It was too long. For example, we've done 2 hours and 23 minutes for 4 movies, which I think is pretty good. You know, and we spent. I think we did 30, and maybe we spent a little extra on Good Will Hunting.
Yeah.
With the extra clip, so it's just too good of a movie. It's our first S tier too, so I think. It makes sense.
And for any of your reviewers, if you guys have movie suggestions, I mean, throw them in. Even if we've watched them or not, we'll review them. We'll kind of, you know.
Any that we have watched, we will get a guest that hasn't seen it and have them watch it. And then we'll review it with them and kind of do the thing that we did as well. Maybe we'll even have a gifts. We have a few Blu-rays to give away, you know, like so... We'll give them away either to the guests or viewers, depending on what. Maybe to both, you know, depending on the movie that it is. And anything else that you want to remind the folks of at home?
Dude, just keep doing what you're doing. Movies aren't a waste of time.
Yeah. You know, as somebody once said, I'll give this quote to Lamont. Having a good time is not a waste of time. You know, like, so this has been the Cine Boys. Thank you all for watching. Catch you the next time.
Peace.